everybody, my name is Jenna Tompkinson. I am a student ambassador in our undergraduate admissions office here at CU Denver. I am a junior as well as a biology major, and I'm here to do my presentation on the top tips for commuter students. So first things first, what I'd like to do is actually talk about how, for me as a commuter student, what I do. So just to give you an idea about what, for me as a current student, being a commuter student is like. I will say it's different for everybody, but for me, I drive to a light rail station. I take the H line, straight shot all the way to our Auraria campus. Which will be the Colfax at Auraria station. It takes me 30 minutes to get there. It doesn't include walking onto campus, but it is just the simplest way for me to get to campus. Easiest way for me and convenient, since I go early in the morning to go to classes and leave slightly in the afternoon, so it's not too dark. So that just gives you an idea on an example what a commuter student looks like on our campus. But I'm here to give you the tips so that you can decide what you are going to be as a commuter student. So first things first, make your route. So what I mean by that is you have to decide whether you're going to be driving to campus or you're going to be using RTD. So pretty much you have to base this on how far you are to campus. If you are a 15-minute drive from campus, then it just might be easier to just drive, especially if you're not near any buses or light rail stations. Also, it also depends on what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable using public transportation, I know for right now during this COVID pandemic, using public transportation to get to campus, even if I did have to go to campus, wouldn't be my number one choice. But I know that for me, outside of this pandemic, using public transportation was super easy, super convenient. But I would say pick your classes first before you decide whether you are going to be driving or you're going to be using bus or RTD light rail. Mainly because if you are taking a night class and you're just going for that one class from 6 to 7:50, it would probably be easier to just drive to campus, park, there's going to be less parking, and then drive back home. If you're going to be taking classes from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., it might be more convenient for you to just take light rail down to campus, take light rail back to wherever your station is. Just depends on pretty much what your classes are and what you decide is best for you. I also say practice this route before you start your semester. This gives you the best idea of how to deal with any kinks in the route. Being like if there's a lot of traffic during a certain time of day when you're going to classes, figure out if you can avoid that traffic. Also figure out if RTD has more delays during this time. It's just a way for you to kind of get into the groove of this new route for you to get to campus. So next is driving to campus. So I'm going to be talking about driving to campus versus using RTD to get to campus. So for driving to campus, the best tips is to pick which parking lot you're going to park in. First, I highly recommend getting the Passport Parking app. It is the most convenient app ever to be able to already have your credit card information in the app to pay for parking once you get there. It's much easier than trying to get to the station, pay through the station, have to wait to do all of that stuff instead of just doing it on your app, already having it ready, and you can just get to class. There are parking passes available for students, but you do have the option also pay daily. It just kind of depends on what you find to be most financially kind of sustainable for you. Then also just get to campus early. I feel like a lot of people will just get to campus whenever, like 15 minutes before, every single time and think that that's like, oh, perfect. But I just highly recommend just getting there as early as possible for you, because a lot of the times you're not going to know what traffic stop is going to happen, what delays there are going to be for RTD. So just give yourself enough time, especially for parking, because a lot of the times our parking gets very full when we are on campus. So trying to avoid having that extra time of finding a spot will be super helpful. And also note that the two big highways that you're going to have to get to campus are I-70 and I-25. So just kind of know that those are the two biggest ones. You can also find different side streets, but those are the two big ones. And also carpool if you can. We actually have our Auraria Sustainability Project, so they really encourage students to carpool just to be sustainable, less carbon emissions, that kind of stuff. So definitely those are the biggest tips for driving to campus. Next is using RTD. So for me, I have the most experience using RTD instead of driving, but the first thing that you should do is figure out if you're using the bus or using light rail. That's the two things that come with RTD, and I know that a lot of students actually use light rail. So what you're going to do is you have to find out the time schedule. For me, for my line, the H line, every single 15 minutes, a new train comes. So if you're going to get to campus, try to take the train that'll get you there 30 minutes before. Or what I like to do is take a rule of thumb. If I can get to campus using a certain time period and I can get there on time, try to use the one before that one. So that then you are ensuring that in case that light rail train gets canceled or you miss that light rail train, you have the one after it and you'll still get to campus on time. Also note that depending on what station that you're going to and what station that you're trying to end at on campus, you might have to make some transfers to different lines. So just be wary and, like I said before, practice your route. That really helps. There's multiple light rail stations to get on campus. There's Colfax at Auraria, which house our H, F, and D lines, as well as Auraria West, which is C, W, and E lines. You can also stop at the Convention Center, which is the same lines as Colfax. It's just one stop down. That one actually I used to get to the Student Commons building. It is more in downtown a little bit, but it's still very close to campus, and it takes the same amount of time to get to some of the buildings as it is using Colfax area. But that's a kind of little tidbit from me, from my experience. Also, make sure to check RTD's Twitter as well as sign up for email updates so you know if there's any cancellations or if there's any delays, especially if you know that there's going to be bad weather. Make sure to keep your eye on those. Next is plan ahead. So this is something that I struggled with, especially as a freshman. It's use your night before classes wisely, especially since getting up in the morning, you might forget things, you might be a little bit drowsy, and you just don't want to have that extra time and or that extra stress, and you want that extra time to be able to kind of get yourself to wake up in the morning. So this also protects you from forgetting things. So just make sure that night before you pack all of your textbooks, pencils, chargers, especially chargers you definitely will need to remember. Laptops, I would say, unless you're charging them. Remember a calculator if you need. Just make sure everything is in your bag the night before. Also, if you are taking lunch as a commuter, I know that some people will pack their lunches before, make their lunches for the week. Make sure you already have those planned out, as well as if you are going to be eating on campus, make sure that you know where you're going and just so that you're ready for that during the week. Also, if there is going to be inclement weather, like I said, make sure you have extra time to get to campus, as well as wake up 15 minutes early, because Auraria is what decides if we have to go to campus or not. So if Auraria closes, you will get an email stating if it is closed, if there is a delay, when it will open, that type of stuff, you will get an email about. So make sure that you check your emails when you wake up. So that is really important and will be a real big lifesaver in case you have a test that day and you realize, the school is still happening, it's not as bad as they thought, but there's still delays. Number 5. So this is our last one. This is use a planner. So planners are your new best friend. So make sure you have any form of planner. It doesn't have to be on paper. It can be electronic as well. Just make sure you have it. As a commuter student, a lot of the times, especially for me, I take multiple classes in a day. And once I finish that last class and I have to take the light rail train home, I'm already just in my own zone in my headphones. I'm more likely to forget all the stuff that I had to do today that I thought I would remember. So having that planner to be able to say, okay, here's what I have due, here's this test that I have coming up in a week or two. It just helps you plan for short-term and long-term. I do know that we use our Canvas, which is our system to be able to look at classes, which can also show you what you have due for assignments, but it's just easier to have that extra resource to be able to plan for those classes. It's just super useful as a commuter. So yeah, those are my top tips as a commuter student. If you do have any more questions, feel free to contact us via these contacts. So we have our Instagram at CU Denver Admissions. Feel free to send us a DM. Our email is admissions@ucdenver.edu, and our phone number is 303-315-2601. Definitely ask us questions. Feel free to ask us questions. Don't feel like you are at all going to inconvenience anybody if you have multiple questions. As a commuter student, I really wish that I had reached out to ask more questions about being a commuter, because there's a lot of those tips and tricks and just looking into what's the best way for me to get to campus, just definitely feel free, reach out. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my video, and have a great rest of your day.